Hello everyone. So now we'll be discussing about questions from environment section. So there are almost 13 questions from environment. Number may vary if you include or exclude questions from general science. But in this session we'll be discussing 13 questions from environment section. First question of environment from set D is 47th question. So we'll be discussing that question. 47th question. Right. So here is the question. Question is, consider the following statements. There are two statements. First, statement 1, the United Nations Capital Development Fund, that means UN, CDF and Arbor Day Foundation have recently recognized Hyderabad as 2020 Tree City of the World. So this statement, part of this statement is correct because Hyderabad is recognized as the tree city, but it is recognized by Arbor Day Foundation along with FAO, that means Food and Agriculture Organization. And that's why first statement which mentions about the United Nations Capital Development Fund becomes incorrect. Right, so first statement is incorrect statement, and if you see options, in all options except one, they have given that statement 1 is correct. Right, so if you know the statement 1, that means it is incorrect, then you'll be able to mark right answer. So correct answer for this question is D, which mentions that statement 1 is not correct, but we will discuss statement 2 as well. So Hyderabad was declared as the tree city of the world by FAO and Arbor Day Foundation, and as Hyderabad is the urban location, the commitment given by Hyderabad is for urban forestry. Right, so statement 2 says that Hyderabad was selected for the recognition for a year long for a year following its commitment to grow and maintain the urban forest. Right, so as Hyderabad is urban locality, the commitment is for the maintenance of urban forest, and that's why statement number 2 is correct statement, and it is option D, which says that statement 1 is incorrect and statement 2 is correct statement, and that's why correct answer for this question is D. Right, so this was basically a current affairs question from environment. Now the next question is 64th question. 64th question. So it is again a current based question. So question is, with reference to New York Declaration on Forests, which of the following statements are correct statements? So this New York Declaration on Forest was initiative started in 2014 at the Climate Summit, and in that particular Climate Summit it was endorsed by government, the big companies, civil society organizations, and also by various indigenous communities. Right, so it was initiated in 2014, and that's why the first statement is correct, which says that it was first endorsed at the United Nations Climate Summit in 2014. So first statement is correct based upon this discussion. Second statement says that it endorses a global timeline to end the loss of forests. So yes, this statement is also correct because the agenda of New York Declaration on Forest was to protect forest cover in world. So second statement is again correct. Third statement talks about it is a legally binding international convention. So this statement is incorrect statement because the New York Declaration is not a legally binding declaration, rather it is a voluntary declaration, and that's why you can eliminate option D from your options. So you are left with option A and option D. We'll discuss next statement, fourth statement. It is endorsed by governments, big companies and indigenous communities. So as we have already discussed in the Climate Summit of 2014, this particular declaration was endorsed by government, civil society organization, big companies and also by indigenous communities, and that's why fourth statement is a correct statement. Last statement, that means fifth, is India was one of the signatories of this particular declaration in its inception. So this statement is incorrect because India was not the signatory during the inception of the New York Declaration on Forest Cover. That means fifth statement is incorrect. So correct statements are first, second and fourth. and that's why our correct answer is A. First, second and fourth is correct with respect to question number 64. Now the next question is question number 65, and the question is magnetite particles suspected to cause neurodegenerative problems are generated as environmental pollutants from which of the following activities? So they have given 5 activities and we are supposed to identify from which of these activities magnetite particles, which are the cause of neurodegenerative problems, are emitted or are released. So first is brakes of motor vehicles. So this is the most important source of magnetite particles. Brakes of motor vehicles lead to emission of magnetite particle, and that's why first statement is correct statement. Similarly, second statement is engines of motor vehicles. So again, this statement is correct because engines of motor vehicle are considered as one of the source of magnetite particles. So second statement is also correct. Third is microwave stoves within our homes. So this is incorrect because microwave stoves within homes are not a cause of magnetite particles that are causing neurodegenerative diseases. Fourth is power plants. So as power plants are using fossil fuels, they are also a source of magnetite particles, and that's why fourth statement is correct statement. Fifth statement is about telephone lines. So telephone lines are not a source of emission of magnetite particles, and that's why fifth statement is incorrect statement. So correct statements are first, second and fourth, which is mentioned in option B. Right, so the correct answer for this question is 1, 2 and 4. Next question. Next question is very simple question and straightforward question. So question is, which one of the following is a filter feeder? So what do we mean by filter feeder? Filter feeders are not selective feeders. That means whatever they get in the environment, they will eat up, and the food is then selected inside their bodies and the rest of the food will be eliminated out, right? So filter feeders are those animals which are not selective feeders. They take all the food material available in the environment and then they will select their particular food inside their body by filtering out the unwanted food material. So out of these, oysters are natural filter feeders. Oysters are natural filter feeders. Catfish is also a filter feeder, but it is acting as a filter feeder only sometimes. It does not act as a filter feeder naturally, but in certain cases catfish also acts as a filter feeder. So our answer will be oyster, because it is oyster which is the filter feeder, right? So the correct answer for this question is C. Quite a straightforward question this was. Next question is again a simple question, and the question is 67th. In case of which of the following biogeochemical cycles the weathering of rocks is the main source of release of nutrients to enter the cycle? So the question is about biogeochemical cycles. We know that there are biogeochemical cycles like carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, water cycle, sulfur cycle, phosphorus cycle, etc. Out of these, phosphorus cycle and sulfur cycle are sedimentary cycles. That means the rock is prime source of the sediments of phosphorus and sulfur. But out of sulfur and phosphorus have only sedimentary cycle. There is no gaseous component of phosphorus cycle. But sulfur cycle have both the components. That means sedimentary component also and gaseous component also. And that's why prime source for phosphorus cycle is the rocks, right? And that's why correct answer will be C. Phosphorus cycle is the cycle where weathering of rock is the prime source of entry of that particular nutrient, right? So the correct answer of 67th is C. Next question now. Question is 68. Which of the following are detritivorous? which of the following are detritivores? What are detrivores or detritivores? These are the organisms which derive their food from dead organic matter or from fecal matter, right? So they are different from decomposers because decomposers only reduce the dead matter in the simpler forms. The detrivores, on the other hand, they feed on that dead organic matter. That means they derive their energy from the organic matter. So we are supposed to find out of these five which are detritivores. So first is earthworms. So earthworms, yes, earthworms are detritivores because they feed on dead organic matter. So first should be there. Second, jellyfish. See, jellyfish is not a detritivore or decomposer. Rather, it is a consumer. And that's why we should eliminate jellyfish from this particular question. Third is millipedes. Millipedes are those organisms which have multiple legs. You must have seen in the, especially during rainy season, the multiple leg animal is seen. So they are also the detrivores. That means they are deriving their food from dead organic matter, and hence it is correct statement. Fourth is seahorses. Again, seahorses, we know that they are consumers. They are not detritivores or decomposers, and that's why we should eliminate fourth statement as well. Fifth is wood lice. So wood lice, again, it is a detritivore because it is deriving its food or energy from dead organic matter, and that's why the correct answer should be 1, 3 and 5, which is mentioned in option number C, right? So answer for 68th question is C. Next question is 69th. The question is, the common carbon metric supported by UNEP has been developed for which of the following? So common carbon metric is the initiative for assessing the greenhouse gas emissions from buildings of the world, and it is mentioned in option A. That means the straightforward answer for common carbon metric is A, right? So other options like B, C and D, they are cooked up options. They are not very relevant to common carbon metric, and that's why we will not discuss those options. Correct answer for 69th question is assessing the carbon footprint of building operations around the world is the objective of common carbon metric. So correct answer for 69th question is A. Now next question. Next question is question number 70. Which of the following have species that can establish symbiotic relationship with other organisms? So this question is about the symbiotic relationship established by certain organisms. So out of these three, which will be able to establish symbiotic association with other organisms? So what is symbiotic association? Symbiotic association is a kind of biotic interaction wherein both the interacting species are getting benefit out of that interaction, and the interacting species are living close together. That is the symbiotic association. Here interacting species will be living close to each other, or rather we can say that their living is established because of symbiotic association with other organisms. Without that symbiotic association, life will not be possible for those organisms mostly. So first is cnidarians. So cnidarians, are they able to establish symbiotic association with any other organism? Yes. So dinoflagellates and cnidarians establish a symbiotic association, and that's why first is correct statement. Fungi, yes, the lichens, we know lichens is a symbiotic association of fungi and algae, and that's why second statement is correct for sure. Third is protozoa. Even protozoa can establish a symbiotic association with termites, and that's why all these three organisms can establish a symbiotic association with other organisms, and that's why all these are correct, mentioned in option D. So correct answer for question number 70 is D, 1, 2 and 3. Next question now. So the next question is question number 74. Yes. So with reference to water credit, consider the following statements. So this question is related to water credits, which is an initiative of water.org, wherein water.org have started this initiative to make sure that microfinances will be available for people, especially for water and sanitation sector. Right? So water credit is a microfinance initiative of water.org, wherein they are trying to provide microfinances for water and sanitation sector so that the access to water and the standards of sanitation improve. So we'll discuss these statements. First statement, it puts microfinance tools to work in the water and sanitation sector. So as per our discussion, water credit is the initiative for that only. It is providing microfinance for water and sanitation sector. So first statement is correct statement. Second statement, it is a global initiative launched under the aegis of World Health Organization and the World Bank. So this statement is incorrect because we have already discussed that water credit is the initiative of water.org. So second statement is incorrect statement. If you eliminate second statement, you will get answer, and that is C, 1 and 3 only. That means third statement is also correct, but still we will read it. Third statement is, it aims to enable the poor people to meet their water needs without depending on subsidies. So this is one of the objective of this initiative called water credit, initiated by water.org, wherein they want to eliminate subsidies related to water. And that's why third statement is correct statement. So correct statements are first and third mentioned in option C. So correct answer for question number 74 is C. Next question is question number 76. Question number 76. So question number 76 is from current affairs. So it is R2 code of practices. R2 code of practices constitutes a tool available for promoting the adoption of which of the following? So this particular initiative, which was initiated by Sustainable Electronics Recycling International, that means SERI, is for recycling of electronic goods in a sustainable manner. Right? So R2 code of practices is the initiative of SERI for the sustainable management of sustainable recycling of electronic goods. So it is mentioned in option A. Option A says R2 code of practices is environmentally responsible practice in electronics recycling industry. So this statement is correct statement, and that's why answer for this question is A. We'll read option B, C and D. Option B says ecological management of wetlands of international importance under the Ramsar. So there is no relation between Ramsar Convention and R2 code of practices. C, sustainable practices in the cultivation of agricultural crops in degraded land. So again, it is not related to agricultural practices. And option D is environmental impact assessment in the exploitation of natural resources. So again, this is not correct answer. So correct answer for question number 76 is A. Next question is question number 77. The question is, why is there a concern about copper smelting plants? First statement, they may release lethal quantities of carbon monoxide into environment. So first statement, see, this is very relative, because what will be the lethal quantities? How much quantity the copper smelting will release, and will it be lethal? So that makes this particular question quite subjective question, and that's why we will, for this moment, we'll say that option statement first is incorrect statement. Second statement is the copper slag can cause the leaching of some heavy metals into environment. So copper smelting plants release copper slag, and that may lead to leaching of certain harmful elements in the soil, and that's why second statement is correct statement. Third, they may release sulfur dioxide as a pollutant. So yes, this statement is correct because copper smelting plants, they may release sulfur dioxide as a pollutant, and that's why statement 2 and 3 are correct, which is mentioned in option B, and hence correct answer is B. But as we have already discussed, the first statement is very subjective. What will be the lethal quantity? And if it is included, then the answer may become D. But as of now, correct answer is B. Next question. Question number 79. So question number 79 is quite easy. It is, what is blue carbon? So we know that blue carbon is the carbon captured by oceans and coastal ecosystem. Right? What is blue carbon? It is the carbon captured by oceans and coastal ecosystem. So quite a simple question asked by UPSC. So correct answer for question number 79 is A. Next and the last question. Question number 80. Question is, in the nature, which of the following is or are most likely to be found surviving on a surface without soil? So out of these 4 organisms, which may survive in an environment without soil? So we know that it is lichens and mosses which can survive in harsh conditions, and that's why in primary succession of ecological succession, it is mosses and lichens which occur at first instance, and that's why they are the correct answer, lichens and mosses. Fern and mushroom, which are mentioned in statement 1 and 4 respectively, they need certain kind of soil for their growth, and that's why they won't be able to develop in the soil-less environment, and that's why answer is 2 and 3. Lichen and mosses, we know that lichen and mosses are considered as or called as pioneer species. Why they are called as pioneer species? Because these are the species which will initiate primary succession, right? So the correct answer for this question is C, 2 and 3. So these are the questions from environment. The questions from environment looks easy, but they are not easy. Out of 13 questions, we can say that 5 to 6 questions are quite easy, but rest of the questions are quite tricky questions, right? So this is about the discussion of environment.